So to kind of take the 2D characters into the 3D world, we had to do a lot of research at first, right? So we had to figure out, we had a list of characters that the filmmakers wanted to do, Joust and Q*bert and so on. And so the first thing we do obviously is go back and look at all of those games. So luckily on the internet you can find just about anything you want. So we could find all the original games and look at them and kind of see what they were. And the other cool thing that we could do is we could download the sprite sheets, which is a sheet of every single image that's in the video game, every action that a character does. So here we had like a blueprint of, okay, this is all the information we have. And usually that was pretty sparse because the characters were so low res. They were also only seen from very specific angles, right? For Galaga, you're looking at a top-down view of all of these characters, but you never see underneath them. You never see them from the side. But our characters needed to be seen from all angles, right? So we ended up looking at game cabinet art in some cases. So for Q*bert, there's actually pretty detailed artwork of what Q*bert would look like if he were high res. So that helped, so we would do research. Also, generally, every sprite had a name. So like there was the Galaga bee and the Galaga moth and the Galaga dragonfly. So if we couldn't find a picture that the game designer had developed, we might look to a real bee or a real dragonfly and sort of infer what the character might look like if he were in 3D. And so there's a lot of guesswork and a lot of subjectivity. We would take our best guess at it, and we would build a very simple character. And this character we would build with just normal polygons, very smooth shaded, but we weren't ever going to see that character directly. This was a character that was going to eventually be voxelized or turned into these chunky pixels. But we would show that to the director and to the visual effects supervisor, Matthew Butler. And they would also show it to the game makers. So each of these games were licensed, you know. So they would go back to the game makers and say, do you think that this looks good to you? Are you happy with how it looks? And everybody would obviously give their notes. We would come back to us and we would make adjustments. And that was a process to figure out what the volume of a character would look like. But the main thing was we wanted our characters to look as low res as possible because that's what's cute and charming about them, right? And so we wanted to put as few voxels and as big as possible to make them look chunky, but we also needed enough to convey, for them to have the ability to do the animation that they needed to do. They needed to bend in certain places or flap their wings. So we needed to make sure there was enough resolution for that, and there was enough resolution for you to tell what it was, but again, stay as low res as possible. So that was an iterative process. Sometimes we would take a model and we would think it would look great. We would get it into animation, and we would start animating, and we would find out that it didn't work when we actually animated it. So we would go back. So it was an iterative process.